Well, I've gotten emails and texts about this one. So I'm going to dive in and jump right at this. This headline says realtors agree to 6% commission cut. Now, here's the thing. There's so much misinformation coming out with the news, with articles like this. And here's the thing. Let's talk about what's actually happening. So first off, this is a proposed settlement that the National Association of Realtors has made due to a lawsuit that said there was antitrust laws, that there was price fixing on commission. And the funny thing is, it's simply not the case. There's never been like an agreement to only charge 6% to sell a house. It's always been negotiable. And I can tell you from my personal experience, it's always been dependent on the seller situation, what they have going on, and then we decide what the best agreement would be for us to move forward and work together. So with that being said, I want to dive into this a little bit and kind of explain what is going on with this. And the real answer is we don't necessarily know yet, because this is actually a proposed settlement with the lawsuit that had happened in regards to commission. It may not actually be ratified for another month and a half or so, but essentially what they're saying is that there's going to be major changes with how commission is going to be handled moving into the future. So, for example, as it is right now, when a seller goes to list their home, they sign on the listing contract what the total commission is, and then how much commission is going to be given to the buyer's broker as they bring a buyer to their listing to be able to sell it. Okay, so there's a predetermined amount of what total commission is, and then how that commission is split up between the listing agent and the buyer's agent. And so now what they want to say is that they're not going to allow the MLS, which is what all realtors use to sell a home and kind of list it to show that it syndicates to Zillow, Redfin, and everywhere else. When you deal with a realtor, they set you up with an email that sends out homes that are in the MLS. So that's like their, private MLS that we all pay to be a part of, and then we send out these listings to everybody so they can see what's for sale on the market. Well, as we move forward, they are not going to allow the sellers to advertise whatever type of commission is going to be going out to the buyer's broker. Instead, what they're going to do in our MLS is they're going to offer what's called a seller's concession. And the seller can decide if they want to give any concessions to the buyer agent to basically, entice them to come show their property. They're going to be paying them to come show the property and try to get their property sold. So, also, what this really does, and this is why this headline is the worst probably definition of this, is it's not necessarily going to save home buyers any money. In fact, what this means is that home buyers have to pay their buyer's agent's commission. That's what this is saying. And so moving forward, after July, it's going to be unethical to go show a house to a buyer if they choose to work with a realtor to show the home without signing a buyer's broker compensation agreement. And so what that agreement means is basically a buyer is going to say that if a realtor helps them find a home, they're going to pay them X amount to help them go through that journey of buying a home, going through writing an offer, the inspections, the whole process of buying a home. They're going to pay that realtor to help guide them through that whole process. Now, if the seller's willing to pay for the buyer's agent, then obviously that's something that can be negotiated on, but it's not going to be a set amount. Everything's supposed to be negotiable, and it really is, to be honest with you. It always has been, but we've had a system set up where it was to, give buyers representation, right? We have a buyer's agent to represent the buyer, and we have a listing agent to represent the seller. So anyways, moving forward, two major changes. There will not be advertised compensation for a buyer's agent. And number two, if you're working with a buyer and you want to work with a realtor, you have to sign what's called a buyer's broker agreement for compensation. So things are going to change. I don't necessarily know how it's going to hit traction-wise with the market once it actually takes effect. Like I said, it's too early to say right now. So anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I think a lot of realtors are learning about what's happening. I think we're all proposing what might happen when this all comes to fruition. In my honest opinion, I feel like we're just moving numbers from one column to the next. and it's still going to be mostly the same type of market overall. But you know, it could drive down commission for realtors, and honestly, I'm fine with that. I think that the realtors that know what they're doing and offer value to their clients are going to succeed in this type of market. And you know, I do think it does favor sellers a little bit more than the buyers, because I'll be frank with you, most buyers are scraping pennies to be able to have a down payment to get into a house, and the last thing they're thinking about is paying a commission to their buyer's agent. So that may drive down prices on the buyer's agent side. Not really sure. We'll see what happens. But you tell me your thoughts. What do you think this is going to do for buyers and sellers? Is it going to benefit them, or is it going to make things harder for buyers, especially in California where home price and affordability is so hard and so high that it's just, you know, it's difficult to buy a home if you're a first-time home buyer. So let me know what you think.